Coach Dietzel, University at Buffalo. I coached safety, special teams, and recruiting coordinator. Started out junior high and high school playing football. Played football, basketball, and baseball all the way through, basically through high school. Football was my best sport and the sport that I enjoyed the most. And so that's kind of where I gravitated more towards the football end of things. Decided when I was in high school that I wanted to coach football. And I was going to go be a high school football coach, and went to college with getting my education so that I could coach high school football. And then once I got to college, realized that college football was more of what I thought I might want to try. So I went to Otterbein College in Ohio, and decided to go through that method of playing and then getting into coaching. And so I started working some camps when I was in college to try to see about getting a grad assistantship, and went around and worked some camps in Texas and Ohio and places like that. Ended up getting a grad assistantship at the University of Colorado. And then from there, took off from there and been basically moving all around at different parts of the country. I GA'd at University of Michigan, and then I have been coaching for about 28 years now at the collegiate level. I played in high school. I was a defensive back and then played quarterback. And I just admired the guys that were my coaches. My assistant coaches and my head coach were people that I really admired. And I realized that this was something I felt like I wanted to do. I was really blessed to have that opportunity to go to a big school. I played at the small college level, so I really didn't know what to expect. Once I got there with Coach McCartney, and Lou Tepper was our defensive coordinator, who I actually worked for. Lou was my first job as a grad assistant. But that really opened my eyes as to what collegiate football was like at the highest level, and really learning from some of the great coaches in the country. I mean, on that staff, there was about probably 6 guys that ended up becoming head coaches at Division I level, including Coach Tepper, Les Miles, Jerry DiNardo, Ron Vanderlinden, who ended up becoming a head coach. Gary Barnett became a head coach. So I was real fortunate to be around a lot of great assistants that became head coaches. So I got mentored by a lot of great people from that standpoint. Then after I left Colorado, I went to be a defensive coordinator at a small school in Indiana. I did that for a year at Earlham College, and then I went to Penn, and I was at Penn for a year. Then I had the opportunity to go to Michigan. And my whole thought there was go to University of Michigan and work for a legend, which was Bo Schembechler. And so I was fortunate to get the opportunity to go there. And I was going to go there any capacity possible. Didn't matter to me. I just wanted to go be around one of the greats. And so I was very fortunate to have that chance to go there and work for Bo Schembechler's last year and Gary Muller's first year as head coach. And Lloyd Carr was a defensive coordinator at that time. And so I got a chance to be a part of that for 2 years. And the great thing about that was I'd kind of learned a lot of football at Colorado, learned a couple new systems. And when I went to Penn, and then when I got to Michigan, now I had a little bit of a base knowledge. And so I thought I could even learn better because I kind of knew, a little bit more at that point. And so things made sense a lot clearer for me then. And so I got, I think, even a better base knowledge while I was at Michigan. I had some ties from when I was at Michigan, and Brian Kelly, when I was at GA Michigan, Brian Kelly had just gotten a job at Grand Valley. And I had talked to him on the phone at one point, but I always knew who Brian Kelly was. I always kind of followed how he was doing, and he built the program up into a national level and won a national championship, actually won multinational championships. So I knew who Brian Kelly was. I knew when he got the job at Grand Valley. I had been a GA at Michigan, so I was familiar with Grand Valley and everything else. Well, I'd always kind of followed them, and then he goes to Central Michigan, and Coach Quinn, who I didn't know, but Coach Quinn was on the staff the entire time, and then they win at Central Michigan. Then they go to Cincinnati. They win at Cincinnati. And I keep looking at them from a distance saying, what are they doing? Because they're having remarkable success at every level of college football. I'd like to really be a part of what they're doing, because they're doing something that most teams haven't been able to do and most coaches haven't been able to do. Move up the level, move up from Division II to Division I, and then different conferences, and do all those great things. And so to me, I really had the desire to be involved with that staff and find out what they're doing. So then I had a friend of mine from the Michigan days who was on the staff with them at Central Michigan and also at Cincinnati, Mike Elson, who's now at Notre Dame. And he and I had become friends throughout the course of the coaching profession. I used to clinic with him up at Cincinnati when I was at Western Kentucky. So I'd go up and drive up and meet with him, and we'd talk over special teams and all those kind of things. And that was the first time I really met Coach Quinn, but it wasn't a real long conversation. It was just a kind of a meet and greet type thing. But that's when I first kind of met some of the staff members at the University of Cincinnati. And then when Coach Quinn got the job, Mike Elson was kind of the guy that, recommended me from that standpoint. And then things kind of worked out from there. But I really had a desire to want to be a part of Coach Quinn's program and a thing that they've been able to accomplish over so many different type of schools and so many different type of championships. When you ask recruits, what was the reason you came to UB? I'd say a great majority of them are saying, I'd really just like the family atmosphere. I like the players, and I like the coaches and the way they make it, feel like a family. And so that's from people that come here and spend a weekend with us and really kind of sense that. I think, number one, Coach Quinn is a family-oriented person, and he'll tell you about his family right away. One of the first things he does when he talks to a recruit or a recruiting group or whatever, he talks about his wife and his kids and how important they are to him. And he also talks about our families as a staff. It's a family-friendly environment in terms of, you'll see our kids at practice. You'll see our wives at practice. We have, like holidays, we do things together. We have Halloweens and stuff like that together. But it's a family atmosphere that Coach Quinn has who's brought in and created it. And then also then, wants to know about the recruits and their families. And Coach Quinn goes and sees every single recruit and their families. And any kid that comes to this program, whether they're scholarship or non-scholarship, him and his family will meet with the head coach prior to coming to be part of this team. So it's important in terms of knowing, who the parents and what the expectation is, and then he as a parent and as a coach, what the expectations are, and how much we're there to support these young men during their time here at UB. The one thing that we really want to emphasize, first of all, is being able to do a great job recruiting locally. I recruit the Section 5 area. Coach Tepper recruits the Section 6 and Section 3 area. And so we're going to always start there first, and we want to make that a big impact. We've got a number of players from these areas, from these sections in New York, but our state of New York is something that we really want to emphasize, and we have a lot of players from the New York area that we're really working hard. And then from there, we branch out to 500 miles. The big thing that I've noticed since I've been here with Coach Quinn is that the message and the philosophy and the method have all been the same and have all been consistent from the first meeting that we had as a staff until now, and it's never changed. And it is consistent, and it is at a high expectation, and it is continuous throughout each class, with each recruiting class, with each position, offense, defense, special teams. But there is just a continuous theme of excellence and just the way that we go about it and what the philosophy is and what the goals are and what the expectations are.